should hang out more, but beyond that, anything I can do to help you, anything I can do to help Cisco, you know where to find me. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy. Made my day. Best way to start the day. Fantastic. Thank you so much. First of all, before we start, I forgot in my last interview to show the swag that Cisco brought me. A Cisco blanket, a Cisco, this is like, I feel like this is the default swag. Everybody brings this, and then literally a black box. I don't know what's in here yet. I'll have to open it afterwards and look. So that first of all, shout out to Cisco for some cool swag. Second of all, very cool meeting. Who are you? What's your name?
My name is Mori Anouchi.
First of all, I forgot to ask you, what is that name? Mori?
It's short for Moria.
Oh, there you go. That makes more sense. Mori Anouchi, because that's not, I mean, that's like quite a name.
People think I'm Japanese.
Yeah, it sounds a little like what's the guy from Usual Suspects? What was his name? Do you watch
Kobayashi.
Look at you. Look at that. That's like, you're on game today. Love it. Okay, so first of all, personal connection. Your husband?
Avi.
Yes, who I know from college, and was a good guy. Just a good guy. He's one of those people. He's just like all nice. That guy.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a good guy.
I like him.
You did well. Did good. Okay, so fine. Give me the background here. How did we connect? What's the story?
I was following your vlogs for a while. You seem like
Can we talk about that for 1 second?
Yeah.
Why do people call it vlogs?
Don't you?
Do you call it vlogs?
No, vlogs.
I know, but do you call blogs vlogs? Why is it called? Why do people say? We're close enough, so I'm being very. Why not vlogs?
I think I've never actually heard it said out loud.
Yeah, it's vlogs. It's not vlogs. People say it all the time. I'm not like embarrassing. I don't mean to embarrass you. Like,
that's okay.
No, I hear it all the vlogs. I'm like, why are you calling it vlogs? It's vlogs. You call it blogs.
Blogs.
Right. So why not vlogs?
I think I read it before I heard it.
Right. Makes sense. What did I just say? This morning, I met with the woman I met with from Cisco. It's written Gizellegh. It's written Gazelle. I wasn't sure if it's Giselle or Gazelle because I never said it out loud.
Right.
So vlogs. People say vlog all the time. I hear that. I'm like, why are you calling it that? Okay. Anyway, sorry. Go on. So you watch the vlogs, yes?
And I saw how much you like to help out startups, and I figured you had some good advice. Spending all your days, interviewing and spending time with these VCs and startups.
Cool.
And I figured I'd reach out, and you were really helpful.
Sweet. Love it. I like that was your perception of me. That's awesome. I hope your husband confirmed that I'm a nice guy.
He did.
Okay, cool. All right. So what do you do?
Okay, I'm co-founder and CEO of Baby Tracks, and we are a digital platform to help empower parents and give them the tools to assess if their child is developing normally. Think kind of like an autism checker, and a way to understand that everything's okay.
Okay, let me pitch this for you.
Okay.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead. Give it a shot.
So the name of the game in marketing in general, right? Because all these words, marketing, branding, they're like empty words. What does that mean? So we talked about ownership, we talked about all, but at the end of the day, really what it comes down to is the emotion. Like getting people's heart pounding. That's what your goal is as a marketer, to get people to care, right? The emotional element here, in my opinion, is when a parent finds out that their child is developmentally challenged. Is that politically correct to use that
That's
terminology?
Okay. Yes.
What do we call it nowadays?
Developmentally delayed is the clinical term.
Great. Developmentally delayed. Like, the last thing they need to cope with right now are garbage tools. Like, they have challenges right now. Give them the freaking tools. We're in 2020. Like, we have autonomous drones. We have self-driving cars. We have AI and robotics, and I have to deal with a crappy, sorry, tipat kalav. Like, why haven't we cracked this?
Yeah.
And so, it's 2020. We have technology. We have means. Why has no one cracked this? Why, as soon as a parent finds that out, are they not given tools that are modern, cutting-edge, state-of-the-art tools, using all the technology, using the AI, using machine learning, using the internet, using the wisdom that's out there, right? I literally wrote an article this morning about, Chedva Kleinhandler?
No.
A company called Emerge, which is like, by the way, you notice my ADD in action? You realize this is ADD in action. It's a cool company, Emerge. So they basically facilitate within companies, like mentoring. Because if I'm in a company and I hit a roadblock, I need information, like I have no access to, there's so much brilliance in every company, but I don't have access. So if you think about what did the internet do? It facilitated, the proliferation, the distribution of knowledge, wisdom, right? And so we have this stuff in other, components or elements or areas of our lives. But when it comes to like where we need it most, when we're like faced with this tremendous challenge, why are we not given the tools to not cope emotionally, but at least cope mentally?
Yeah.
So that's what you're building.
Yeah.
That makes me want to cry. That makes me emotional. I'm telling you, like, I cannot stress this enough. Emotion. Like, I'm not gonna name the company, but I was working with a very, very, how do I say this diplomatically, a very dry enterprise company that super successful, but boring as heck. And I sat with the CEO, or not the CEO, the president, and I pitched him his own company in an emotional way, and the guy had tears in his eyes. I'm like, that is the way to pitch this company. He's like, I don't even we never even thought of it that way. But every company, literally right now, I'm not gonna ask you to do this, but any company you can name right now, if you spin it a certain way can be pitched in an emotional way.
So how about if I pitch it like this?
Go for it.
We're building a platform to make sure that every child reaches their full potential, and we do not want a child's family situation, economic status, or place of living to affect the outcome of, or determine the outcome of their life. And diagnosing and treating delays early can change the course of a child's life, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Love it. What's the website?
www.
Wait, stop. By the way, you're gonna hate me after this interview. Why www? Tell me on that. I want to understand why you just said that. I'm listening. Explain it to me.
I mean, isn't that how people normally introduce their websites?
What happens if I don't write www?
No, it goes to the same thing.
So why?
Yeah. Download the app, actually. You should go to the app.
Saying, like, I hear this on the radio, like www. I'm like, why? What?
I think it's just out of habit.
I guess so, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Skip the www,
okay.
yeah.
Babytracks.org.
TRACKS.
TRACKS.
Because there's also tracks with an X.
Yeah. No.
Okay, .org?
.org. O-R-G. And
.org.
we have .co too, the domain also, but we decided that.
Isn't .org usually like?
So it's not anymore. I was really surprised to find that out. You could totally buy it.
Learn something new every day. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was like nonprofit world .org usually. No.
Usually, I think it used to be, but now I'm seeing that it's not. Just .com was taken. So.
Okay, so .co.
Yeah, we have .co too. We could change it.
And .com was taken. Have you tried to acquire or?
Not yet.
You should look into it. Because .com's
better to download on the App Store.
Which name of the app is Baby Tracks?
Yep.
Baby Tracks. Let me
okay.
I'm gonna do it right now.
On Google and Android.
Oh, you mean iPhone and Android?
iPhone, yeah. Did I just say Google and Android?
You did. It's okay. How many coffees have you had today? Baby Tracks Diary?
So far,
is that
2.
You? Baby Tracks Diary?
That's who we are.
Baby Tracks Diary. Okay. So here's a. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, just the design of the page on the App Store is nice. I'm gonna give you a secret tip right now that you're gonna thank me for forever. First of all, it looks a little bit like Waze.
Oh, interesting that you say that because we sometimes say we're the Waze of child development.
No, but it looks a little bit like. Doesn't it look like you don't see the connection?
Oh yeah, I hear that.
Looks a little bit. Okay, so here's a piece of advice for you right now. Ready? This is gonna change your world.
Okay, go for it.
So as a consumer app, like it's not easy to get downloads. It's even harder to have retention, which is a topic for another time. By the way, you spoke of Sivan. You know Sivan Felder. We literally the interview I posted this morning. We talked about that.
She's
Go watch
awesome.
it. She is awesome. But you talked about retention. But watch that interview. But irrelevant of that, there are limited ways of getting users for a consumer app. Okay, so you have user acquisition, meaning advertising, which requires big budget. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's PR, which will give you a nice spike. You get some nice coverage, give you a couple of thousand downloads, whatever it may be. That's great. I'm not belittling those things. Do them. But there's one secret weapon that very few people know about that would cost you, in theory, nothing. And you can get millions of downloads. It's called ASO.
What is that short for?
App Store Optimization.
Oh, yeah.
So you know SEO.
Right.
So SEO is I optimize for search so that when somebody Googles something, it shows up at the top of search of Google. So ASO is optimizing that landing page for searches. So major shout out to Benny Shaviv from a company called Fitness 22, who has fitness apps that when you in the App Store you search for certain phrases. Like if you're working out, you search for certain phrases. They're number 1, number 2 in the App Store, and they're getting tens of millions of downloads from ASO.
No way.
Literally having zero money, zero. Now,
we also found a little trick that if you update, then it also puts you higher on the list.
Correct. these are all tricks you need to whatever. But I'm saying, like, disclaimer, it's not like so easy. If it was so easy, everyone would do it. You really need to study the algorithm. You need to know what you're doing. But if I would spend significant time and resources studying ASO right now, because you can do this now. Like you know, you're early stage, you haven't raised capital yet. You can't afford to spend millions of dollars on user acquisition, but you can do ASO.
Yeah.
So like, study it. It's I mean, use the internet. Like literally.
First thing I'm gonna do when I get home.
Study ASO. Okay, listen. I got to run to my next meeting. I think we have a couple of pieces of homework here.
Yep.
But anything else that pops into your head, like I told you, first thing in this meeting, like my emotional connection to what you're doing. I spent years working with special needs kids. Not many people know that, but best summers of my life, like genuinely the best summers of my life. There's something very, very special about whether it's autism or Downs or other things. Like deeply love that, you know, that world of special needs. So that aside, like in general, like as you said, I like to help entrepreneurs, but with that, like anything I can do to help, you let me know. We're gonna work on the Excels. We're gonna work on a couple of different things, but stay in touch. Send regards to your husband, and anything else that pops in your head that I can help you let me know.
Thank you so much, Hillel.
Thank you for the Coke.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll talk soon. In Hertzliya, I have not been here in a while. It is insanely windy, and I'm going to Meat and Wine, one of my favorite restaurants in the country, to meet Orly Glick from Vintage Partners. Alan Feld from Vintage is just different level stuff. He's been on the vlog many times. Kipa is flying off my head. Also, Meat and Wine is the most awesome restaurant, and big fan of Vintage, the team as a whole. Hi, want to say hello?
Yeah.
Say hello.
Hello.
What's
Hi.
your name?
My name is David.
Hey, David. David what?
David Rapkin.
Rapkin?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm a software developer.
Where?
Here in Sigma Dots. It's a startup.
Sigma Dots.
Sigma Dots. Yeah.
Never heard of him. Who are you?
My name is Nir. I'm a QA engineer at Safety Data, a cybersecurity company.
Love it. There's always new companies I'm finding in this country. It's unbelievable. Let's eat, people. Let's eat.
Hello, sir.
Oh, what is up? What's going on? Who are you? Who's this good-looking guy?
I'm Adiel with my man.
The man himself. We don't have the Hillel menu here anymore, do we?
The Hillel menu. You still ask for it.
Oh, good-looking guy. Look at this good-looking guy. Since she won't let me put on the camera, who are you?
I'm Evan. Evan Chesir. Hello.
How long do we know each other?
5-6 years already.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So I think
been
this
a
is
while.
our first lunch.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself, man. What's wrong with you? Congrats, dude. You guys just raised the fund.
Yes, we did. Yes,
How
we
big?
did.
133
million.
133 million.
Initial close.
Unfreaking believable. What do you do at Vintage?
We are a fund of funds.
What do you do at Vintage?
I'm the marketing lead at Vintage.
You landed in literally your dream. Like, this is your dream job. You cannot. Where are you gonna go from
It
here?
is. I love it.
Where could you possibly go from here?
I'm enjoying it.
Stop. Sorry, I'm bothering them.
enjoying it.
For bothering them. I know you're gonna make me turn this off. I'll turn it off in a minute. Just quickly. Who are you?
What is that?
Who are you? Who are you? Oh, it's very, very dark. Wait, turn around. Orly Glick, the one and only. All right, I'm gonna turn this thing off in a second. Just wanted to say hello and tell you I'm a big fan. That's all. Let's eat. Today, I feel like I won the lottery. How long have we known each other?
Maybe like 4 years?
I think I've tried to interview you, I don't know how many times. Truth is, like, Alan's the same way. Until I actually got him on camera, I had to, like, basically twist his arm. Okay, so listen, you're gonna forgive me, but I'm like, you know this, but I'm gonna say it on camera. I'm a huge Orly fan. Not only me though, and not only Orly, all of Vintage. Literally, as I said to you before, nobody that I've ever mentioned the name Vintage or Alan Feld or Orly has ever said anything but, oh my God, I love those guys. You're doing something fundamentally right. What do you do? Who is Orly Glick? Give me the story. Hit me.
Who's Orly Glick? I don't like talking about myself.
We're going to work on that.
I'm Israeli originally.
How do you have such good English?
I was born and raised here, but I left Israel like 25 years ago.
Oh, wow. Where'd you live?
I lived in the Netherlands, in Belgium.
Get out of here. I've never been.
In Paris, and in Orange County, California.
So why don't you tell me where you haven't lived? Okay, yeah. All right.
And then I came back to Israel because I
Okay.
wanted my kids to be Israeli.
And what's your background? Like professional background, I mean?
So half of my life I've done tech, half of my life I've done business, half of my life I've been in startups, half of my life in corporates.
Okay.
So I've done Indigo, was acquired by HP.
Yep.
I've done Merrill Lynch. I've done McKinsey, 2 careers.
McKinsey, what was you were a partner? What were you at McKinsey?
So I had a career in Belgium, and then I had a second career under the fast growth tech.
Love it. McKinsey, like, first of all, I mean, it's a longer discussion, but the people there are so awesome. I have like a man crush on Michael Bloch. I'm just saying, the guy is just off. People don't even, by the way, forget the fact that he's brilliant. Michael Bloch, he's gonna be very angry at me for saying this. I can't. There's certain things I can't talk about on camera, but the things he's done for me and people that I know over the years, he literally, like, I'm not allowed to talk about him. Just outrageous. He's just the nicest man.
I
Just
love the guy.
unbelievable.
And this
Unbelievable.
morning we corresponded, so.
Oh, yeah? Love the guy.
yes.
And he's also super fast with email. Reminds me of Gigi Levy. Okay, fine. All right, so now your role today.
So I'm a partner, so I'm on the investment committee, but I also run a team that does value-added services. It's a free, massive business development effort that we're doing to connect corporates and startups.
Right. At Vintage. Let's talk about Vintage for 1 second, then let's get back to the value add. What is Vintage? Because let me just give a disclaimer or complicate that question, because there's VCs out there, there are angel funds out there, whatever you want to call them. Then there's fund of funds. Then there's Vintage. Vintage is like the ultimate hybrid of it all. What is Vintage? Hit me with your elevator pitch.
So Vintage is a $2 billion fund of funds, secondary funds, and direct. So essentially, we're invested in funds in Israel, in Europe, and in the US.
Right.
So complex on that side already.
That is
then
the
we have,
ultimate understatement, Orly.
Yes.
You're not just invested in funds. You are invested in the funds. Like,
Right.
I mean, are you allowed to talk about who your LPs in, or not public
not really,
information?
but let's say the top funds in the world.
The top, that's not even like an exaggeration. Literally, the top VCs in the world, you are invested in them. So let me sorry to cut you off here,
Yeah.
just in case you're not familiar with how this world works. If I'm an entrepreneur, I need to raise capital for oxygen to build my company. I go to a VC, a venture capitalist, invests in me. Now that VC, assuming they're not self-funded, which they're not, most of them, or all of them basically, are raising money. They have LPs, limited partners. These guys are their partners. So all of the VCs that you've seen on the vlog, Michael Eisenberg's of the world, the Chevy Parises of the world, the Danny Cohen's of the world, all those VCs, they raise money from LPs who fund them. You guys are one of, let's say one of to be accurate, the only fund of funds in Israel, by far the biggest, and you're invested in literally the world's top funds,
Right.
which is in and of itself outrageous.
Yes.
Like, why are these funds even looking in your direction? Because you've done something right. Okay, so that's the fund of funds aspect. Then there's the secondary. So explain that to me. What's the
Right, so the secondary has two components. So we either buy out LPs and funds. So let's say an LP in a fund, let's not mention names, but an LP in a fund wants to sell their units.
Right.
There's no open market, there's no like public market to sell it,
Right.
so we would come and buy it from them.
Got it.
And then there's secondary directs. So let's say a founding team of a late stage startup, during their round, after their primary round, they want to release some liquidity, we would come and buy that from the management team or the founding team.
So I'm again going to dumb down what you're saying because you're highly sophisticated, and maybe some people watching this might not understand. If I am a founder of a startup, and the company's growing, we raised more capital, the valuation went up, those options, that stock in that company is worth something. Let's say I want to buy a Maserati, just hypothetically speaking. So I now can, liquidate, is that the right word? Liquidate?
Yeah.
Liquidate those options and basically sell them. So you would buy them, and that way gain equity and percentages in companies.
Exactly.
Increase your portfolio. So there's that. And then there's the third kind of leg of vintage, which is direct investment. And the big news there is that you guys this week announced that you closed your $133 million first closing of a fund to make direct investments in late stage companies in Israel.
Exactly, in Israel and in Europe as well.
Do you ever sleep?
No.
Does Alan ever sleep?
Nope.
You guys are like a bunch of machines. It's unbelievable. And by the way, to be clear, everything we just described, which is insanely unique, and I don't know of another fund. Is there another fund that does everything you guys do?
I think there's one in the U.S. that does similar things to us, but
How big is their team and how big is your team? Do you know?
We're 34 people.
Which is nothing. 34 people, all of that. 34 people.
Sleep is overrated.
Yeah, by the way, I am all about that. I completely agree with you. By the way, sleep after 120 years, right? But 34 people.
We just love what we do.
And how much money under management? What's the number that you talk about
We
publicly?
have $2 billion.
$2 billion under management.
Yeah.
Sorry to play this. I know this is overplayed, but I have to emphasize this. We're talking about a country the size of New Jersey in the worst neighborhood on earth, and we have a fund like Vintage that's invested in the world's top venture funds, secondary and direct investments in growth companies. I mean, I think if there's any, let's call it, institution that tells the story of the miraculous nature of Israeli tech, it's Vintage. I don't know if anyone's ever positioned it that way, but from my perspective, this makes no sense. There's no reason that the top tier investors in Silicon Valley, where there's trillions of dollars flowing into the ecosystem, should even look in our direction, and yet they're taking money, they're giving you, and by the way, another point that's really important to emphasize is all of those funds that are taking your money are all oversubscribed. Everyone wants a piece of their action. Who doesn't want to invest in these leading investors? These leading investors are invested in companies like Facebook and Slack and Twitter. So if I have billions of dollars, I want to be part of that investment. So these guys are oversubscribed. Everyone wants a piece of their action, and yet they're taking your money. So I mean, you guys are just doing something magical, quite frankly. And I think, not to take away credit from the team here, but I think that the driving force, and I call him a force because he's a freaking force of nature, is Alan Feld. That guy is a level of intelligence the likes of which I've never seen, and I've met some smart people in my life. It's pretty unbelievable. Talk to me about the value add now.
So the value-added services that...
I'm a fan. Can you tell I'm a fan? I'm not sure. I don't know if you can tell or not. A little bit of a vintage fanboy. Yeah, okay, go on.
So the value-added services is our way to give back to the ecosystem. So we've developed, with the help of our team, we're actually 4 now, a system where we're kind of a free, massive business development. So I speak to corporates every day. Literally every day I have a discussion with a different corporate, an international corporate.
Decision makers there.
Yes, decision makers. This could be the CTO, the CIO, the CMO, or their teams.
Yep.
And they tell me their pain points. It could be very specific technology pain points, like we're looking for endpoint protection, or it could be strategic.
Right.
And then we kind of map them, the startups that fit their needs. We don't push companies. Like, this is really important to say. We don't push. It's pull.
Because you've no skin in the game either.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. We have no skin in the game. It's completely free, and we're such a large player that any startup that succeeds is great for us.
Right.
And then we send them a list of startups, and they can pick and choose and say, hey, or I want an introduction to this company or that company, or
Right.
or to meet the companies. And we host 2 corporates a week.
You're talking about you gave me some examples. Obviously, you can't talk about it on camera, but we're talking about the world's top corporates who are coming to you, knocking on your door and saying, I need access to your deal flow. And then you're taking these companies who come to you also and saying, here, startup, meet enterprise meet startup, gesundheit, go do your thing.
Yes.
And you've no skin in the game. You're not getting equity in this, nothing.
We're not getting anything. It's completely free. We're one of these, naive folks that think that if we do good, good will come back.
I have
But
to
also-
interrupt you. Sorry, I keep interrupting you,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah,
close
no,
enough,
no,
right?
no.
We're close enough. I just want to say one thing. I'm nobody. I preach this all day long. Ignore me. I'm nobody. But don't ignore them. They've figured out what I figured out on a tiny little scale, and they're scaling, and it's working, and it's driving and yielding incredible results. So, like, again, me preaching, do good, and help others win, and you'll end up winning. Forget me. Look at Vintage, and look at what they've done. That's all I have to say. What were you gonna say? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, exactly. If you think about it, it's also good business, because if we're serving the corporates with startups that match their needs, they're just going to come back and back again and again. We're not pushing and say, hey, see this one or that one. It's just catering their needs, and then they refer each other.
It's incredible. What's next? Where do you go from here? Like, where does Vintage go? Where could you possibly go from here? Do you have future plans?
So I think that, first of all, there's a lot of other things that, like, ideally would like to do for startups, and I'm happy to, hear requests and ideas, but would like to help startups even more in the value-added services, so, like, get more clients.
Right.
And I think that, like, the next steps is recruiting. We're still trying to figure that out. How
Recruiting
to do this.
for companies?
Yeah, recruiting for
Interesting.
startups. Because when the startups, when they move to the U.S., like, the first question is, how do I recruit my CMO? How do I recruit,
Interesting.
or the sales team? So.
But I love that that's where your mind is at. Like, you really want to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. All right, listen. If someone's watching this, whether it's a startup, a corporate, whatever it may be, and they want to get on Vintage's radar, they want to get on your radar, what is the best place to contact you?
Just email me.
Which is?
Or LinkedIn. My email is orlyg@vintage-ip.com, or LinkedIn. That's the best.
Okay, so it's ORLY.
Why?
So Orly G, you said?
Yeah.
At vintage / or dash IP?
Yeah.
.com.
IP.com.
Beautiful. Or add her on LinkedIn. But send her a message and explain. But I can't deal with people adding you on LinkedIn without explanation of who you are and why she should accept. But send her a message. Listen, Orly, you know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Anything that I can do in any way, shape, or form, I don't even know what your needs and what your challenges are, but, like, anything. I mean, we could have our monthly lunch here.
Yes, let's do that.
No, but I know you're busy, but I'm being serious. No joke. Like, you send me articles that I could distribute. That's easy. That's low-hanging fruit. Forget that stuff. That'll do my sleep. But beyond that, like, I don't know. Again, whether you have all the deal flow you need, you don't need that. You want me to look at companies and give you my opinion on a due diligence level? I don't even know. I'm not going to throw out ideas. Anything I can do, you let me know. You take me up on it, though. She won't take me. You're going to take me up on it. She's Orly. She's not going to take it. She doesn't like asking for things. You're going to take me up on it. Anything I can do, let me know. And I always love meeting you guys. Tell Alan I love him, and take me up on my offer. Take me up on my offer, though, Orly.
Perfect.
I said it here on People Heard. Thanks, and thanks again for lunch.
Thank you.
Well, if ever there was an episode that illustrates the power and truly impressive nature of the Israeli tech ecosystem, this was that episode. It was an incredible day. See you tomorrow.